following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into a Hump Day edition of Main Street Sports. Today on the program, Heather Williams for her weekly NASCAR conversation, joining us from Bristol, Tennessee. Also, Mitt Winter, who is an NIL attorney. Yeah, whoever thought that would happen coming in the future. So plenty to get to. Also, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, our daily Braves updates for better or for worse. To the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. This is Main Street Sports Today. Happy Wednesday, gentlemen.
It's Wednesday. I'm not sure how happy it is, but it is. I am happy to hear that voice again. It's been more than a week since we've heard the golden tones.
Golden tones of Jonathan Paul.
More like nickel tones.
This is pewter.
Hey,
the pewter tones.
Yeah. Gold is in the eyes of the beholder.
Or the ears.
Yes.
There you go.
Thank you very much. It's good to be back with you, fellas. Good to be
Oh
back.
man, it is nice to hear you. I will say that. And as he said, it's Wednesday. I don't know how happy it is though, because, well, I mean,
I don't know how late you stayed up last
I did not.
night, but it was Wednesday when I went to bed.
Nope.
Before that single sat down along the right field line.
All I needed to see was Will Smith, and I just said, I'm sleepy.
Oh, well, you missed a good part. And I mean, we actually scored an extra inning.
Oh, I saw that. I did see that that Riley got a hit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Atlanta's trash, and we'll talk about it later.
I guess. Since
For better or worse.
Yeah, mostly worse.
Certainly that. We have got a fantastic show. Some big...
Even though we're going to talk Braves, we still got a fantastic
despite
show.
that. Exactly. Big NASCAR news today. I'm excited to talk to Heather because apparently the NASCAR's top series, the Cup Series, is headed back to St. Louis to Gateway. So that's exciting. And I'm really curious because I heard today that the state of Louisiana is amending its NIL laws. So I'm really curious what the latest is on NIL and that sort of
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I really have no idea what any of it means, and luckily we have someone who's fluent in NIL law.
Not just fluent.
Literally
makes his living in
doing
it. Yeah, so
that's going to be exciting. Mitt Winter joins us from Kansas City. So yeah, it's going to be a fantastic show. We've got a lot of information that we're going to get to. The first information though that we're going to get is scores and today's schedule. One game from tomorrow's schedule. And yeah, so all of that coming your way right next. Right now. Next. Back in the Berg, JP, give us the rundown.
This is the rundown.
All right. That's the wrong one.
No, it's not. That's perfectly fine because we missed Monday.
No, we did miss Monday. There
So
you
we'll
go.
just go ahead and
I
give
knew
it
what
to
I was
him.
doing. Zion Christian, our rundown sponsor, since we missed you on Monday. So we'll get to our scores from Tuesday. Major League Baseball, the Braves in 10 innings fall to the Diamondbacks 8-7, your final there. It was the Cubs 8-7 winners over the Brewers, the Cardinals 3-2 winners over the Padres. Nice, we've added Cubs and Cardinals.
No, we
Brewers?
added Brewers because of the
and
Sounds,
Cardinals?
and the Padres because
perfect.
of Ryan Winters.
The Padres.
Weathers,
Ryan
not
Weathers,
Winters.
yeah. Well, we got some Cardinals fans in the middle.
Weather,
of the series
Winter.
as well. Yeah, it's all good.
We do have Cubs and
WNBA.
Cardinals fans. I'll agree with that. We may
Okay.
even add them in the future.
Okay, I like it. All right. WNBA action, it was Chicago 73-70 winners over Phoenix, and Vegas 89-81 over Connecticut yesterday. Today's schedule, the Braves.
Anytime Connecticut loses in women's basketball, don't care what
That's right.
level.
Don't care what level. That's right. They still play at the Mohegan Sun?
Yes.
Okay. All right. MLB action today, tonight. No, this afternoon, 2:40, Bally Sports South. Kyle Wright on the mound for the Braves, taking on Bumgarner. That would be Madison with Arizona. Angels and Yankees at 6 p.m. on FS1. All right. What's our tie here? Angels or Yankees or?
They're on the air. They're on the air.
On the air?
Yeah, they're on television.
Oh, on television. Gotcha. National
Yes.
television. I got you. Okay. I like it. Sounds in action tonight versus Durham. They are in Raleigh. It's not Raleigh, Durham. That's why it says Durham. They're taking on the Bulls. 5:35. I'll just read what I have here. How about that, fellas? I got to work my way back into this.
You've been off for a week. You
Vacation
still
brain.
got vacation brain. It's okay.
Vacation brain. I had no internet, and it was fabulous. On the air today, soccer. UEFA World Qualifier, Scotland and Ukraine. 1:30 today. That should be on the air now. ESPN2. I'm sure there will be lots flying the blue and gold, rooting for Ukraine. United States versus Morocco tonight, 6 p.m. also on the Deuce. NHL.
That's a friendly.
That's a friendly. These are oh, that's right. United States is a friendly today. Gotcha.
Yes.
We love friendly. Who doesn't love friendly?
And my favorite part of the schedule is it says United States versus Morocco, Cincinnati, as if Morocco is in Cincinnati. It's hilarious.
They're playing.
They're playing in Cincinnati, but the way the
Gotcha.
schedule looked, it's just weird.
Yeah. Morocco, Cincinnati. NHL tonight, it is the Eastern Conference Finals. Lightning and the Rangers, 7-10. I believe this is game 1. Is that correct? Because the Rangers took care of the Hurricanes in game 7.
Correct.
Just a couple of nights ago. WNBA, Indiana at New York. That's on CBS Sports Network. Looking ahead to Thursday, the College World Series for softball. UCLA and Texas that'll get things going, right? Noon on ESPN. So all ready to the College Softball World Series. That is your rundown for this Wednesday, brought to you by our Monday sponsor, Zion Christian Academy.
Mo, top story today comes from what we talked about a lot yesterday, the spring meetings. Nick Saban says he, quote, has no problem with Jimbo Fisher. I'm not sure that Jimbo cares.
No, of course Nick doesn't have any problem with Jimbo. Nick never did. Nick said what he had to say. Now, let's ask Jimbo if he got a problem with Nick.
Because I think the answer is pretty obvious.
Unless something has changed in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, Jimbo's got a problem with Nick.
Nothing has changed, I can assure you.
Yeah, so. But it's good to know that Nick doesn't have a problem with Jimbo.
I don't think, again, he singled out Texas A&M. Shouldn't have done that, but he also wasn't wrong. I don't think. But I also think that's not ever been it's never not been the case. Everybody at that level is buying recruits. It's the way the world works. But for him to come out and say that is,
well, I think and we're rehashing to some degree, but for him to come out and say what he said, again, it's kind of the violation of the honor among thieves to some degree, because to even give the impression that Alabama is doing everything by the book. And there you go.
Exactly.
There you go. And you couldn't even let me finish my comment with a straight face. So, the best thing for Nick to do would be to just sit there and eat his food, really.
Yeah, just be good. And here's the thing. Yes, it's always been kind of honor among thieves because they had to keep quiet. Now they don't necessarily have to keep quiet because the NIL has really changed the game and it's put it in the public forefront. So now we all know what is happening.
But just because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm just saying it's the situation that NIL has put a lot of these coaches in is it's uncharted territory, and sometimes you gotta think before you say something.
It is. It's uncharted territory, and we are boldly going where no man has gone before, and all that other stuff. But again, the best thing to do is handle your business and leave other people alone.
Leave her. I still don't. I mean, I know that Prime had something to say, but I don't know what it was. Because Prime got kind of
you can apply that statement to any situation.
Prime got something.
Prime got something to say. Prime's always gonna have something to say, and I get it.
Yeah,
because anything that keeps Jackson State in that eye
is a good thing.
You know, any publicity is good publicity. I'm not sure how true that statement actually is, but it seems to be the cliche that everybody goes back to. And I'm going to tell you something, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, what got lost in all that is, especially after this TSU Notre Dame game, Deion to some degree is kind of fighting uphill because Jackson State doesn't have anything like that coming up.
No, Jackson State's always been fighting uphill, as have all HBCUs at this level.
But I mean, particularly Deion, for everything that he has done over his last year and a half or whatever, all of a sudden there is another HBCU out there that's got something from a publicity standpoint that Jackson State doesn't. Nobody else is playing a legendary,
right?
I say Power Five, but Notre Dame's not in a conference.
Well,
so
they are the six.
They are the Power Six.
They are the six.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. He's got competition now, so he's absolutely having to kind
of
generate and fight. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question there.
He's got to get that spotlight back on J State some kind of way.
No doubt. Tomorrow, we are going to hopefully be able to bring you Trevecca, a press conference at 2:00 where Trevecca will name its women's basketball coach. So looking forward to that. That should be at 2:00. So we may open the show with Trevecca's press conference tomorrow. Again, that's at 2:00. So looking forward to it. But when we come back, Heather Williams, WCYB TV out in Bristol, will talk some NASCAR with us. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back into this Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today. And Wild and Wacky getting started early. Because at halftime, we're going to have to talk a little bit about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, the defamation of character suit. Because
You say so.
well, no, this is fantastic. They have the jury has a verdict, but they didn't fill out the verdict card correctly, so they had to go back. It's so good.
I guess the jury felt like we got to get in on these shenanigans too.
They
wanted more camera time.
Yeah,
They really
yeah.
did. Listen, it's hilarious, and we'll get to it in just a few segments. But I just thought that was hilarious. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That is pretty funny, actually. Much as I hate to admit it.
Oh man, what a fantastic start to this Wild and Wacky Wednesday it has been. We've got a great Wild and Wacky coming to you in the final segment, so you're definitely going to want to stick around. But first, NASCAR making its way back to St. Louis to Gateway this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And to talk about it, we have coming to us from Bristol. We're not sure whether it's Tennessee or Virginia.
There we go.
We do need to ask that question.
We do need to get a clarification on that. Yeah.
We have Heather Williams at WCYB TV. Heather, what's up?
I live on the Tennessee side and work on the Virginia side.
That's what I like to hear.
So, and it's about a 10-minute drive from my apartment to Virginia.
That's funny. Well, it's ironic.
Now, our station sits right on the state line, so I can literally walk 3 steps out of our station and be in Tennessee.
But it is officially in Virginia, though.
Yeah, it's officially in Virginia, and the Virginia viewers, as I'm sure something you're familiar with, let us know all the time that we're in Virginia and we should only cover Virginia stuff.
Oh, only. Okay. Yeah.
Only.
Because those airwaves cut off at the state line, right? Yeah, gotcha.
Apparently they're supposed to. Big curtain, little big wall.
Oh,
yeah.
like the Conference USA has. Big curtain in Frisco. They just have a
I wonder if this curtain would have its own Twitter.
probably.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that it's interesting that you kind of split time between Tennessee and Virginia, Heather, because I also know that you're from Kansas City. And so NASCAR getting back to St. Louis, is that what does that mean to you as a Kansas Citian? Is that anything particularly special?
No, not really, because the tracks are completely different and serve different audience. I don't know a lot of people that made the long drive from St. Louis to Kansas City for the race. I think they'd be more apt to maybe have gone to Chicago or to Kentucky or to Nashville than to Kansas City. I mean, people come from all over the place, but most of that Kansas City crowd seems to be skewed further west than St. Louis. So I think it's good because it puts another track there in the middle that, people in the mid part of the state can go to. They don't have Kentucky anymore, so that's not really an option for people. So I think it's great to try to grow the sport, especially in a market like St. Louis, which is a really good sports market.
It is interesting because, coming off of Coca-Cola 600, you're going to a place, sorry, there was a drop of water from the ceiling. I just watched it fall and it kind of squirreled me. Anyway, okay, so there's that. Going from a place like Charlotte where everybody is familiar, do you see it is dropping down and bouncing?
No, what's it landing on?
I have no idea. Anyway, going from a place where they're so familiar.
I'm not a video too. I can't see this.
This is unfortunate.
So wild. But Charlotte is so familiar to every driver. Going back to St. Louis, where not everybody is necessarily familiar with the track, is this, and of course you're coming off the longest race in NASCAR history, a massive race, 600 plus miles this past week, and now to St. Louis where you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, in the new car, nobody really knows what to expect anywhere. I mean, I think Charlotte was probably the most predictable track that they went to just because they had done a lot of testing there. But I mean, most of these tracks are wild cards anyway because of the new car. And I think this is a lot like going back to Nashville last year in the fact that there are quite a few guys that have run this track in other series, because the Truck Series runs there and has run there for quite some time, and the Xfinity Series used to run there. So there's only a handful of guys, really just the youngest of youngest guys, or guys that maybe didn't run trucks coming up, that haven't run at least a little bit at Gateway, or Worldwide Technologies Raceway, I think is what it's officially called. So I think there'll be a lot of drivers that'll have a good baseline, and most teams will have a good baseline because a lot of them have relationships with truck teams anyway. So it won't be a total blindsided wild card type thing, but it'll help level the playing field. And I think you might see some guys that generally aren't up in the mix be up in the mix because they have a little bit more experience than some of the front runners.
It's certainly going to be interesting. And like you said, they did a lot of testing at Charlotte before with the new car and everything. And yet Sunday certainly threw some wrenches into a lot of folks' day. I mean, Kyle Larson spinning out, Bubba Wallace spinning out. Just it was almost like, the tire issue that they had felt like they had gotten under control completely just came back out of nowhere in the biggest race of the year. Well, second biggest race of the year.
I mean, Bubba Wallace's least of his issues were to spit it out. I mean, that he has some serious issues with the pit crew, all the way up from the crew chief down to, the guy who wipes off the windshield before he goes out there. And some serious changes need to be made to that team, in my opinion, because all of the Toyotas are fast enough, and Bubba qualified in the top 10 for this race. He was plenty fast enough to be a competitor and was running in the top 10 for most of the race until he had this little issue. And he wasn't even parked because his car wasn't going fast enough or wasn't drivable enough to literally, his crew chief told him, "We don't want to get in the wreck here in the last few laps of this stage. Take it easy. Don't run full speed." And so he didn't, and they got black flagged and parked for not maintaining minimal speed, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. I love Booty Barker. I used to be a huge fan of Casey Mears, and Booty was his crew chief as well. But that's almost unexcusable to me, the mistakes that team has made across the board. So that was the least of his issues. The tires, I still believe there are still some teams that are pushing the air pressures, but you're seeing less of that because they figured out NASCAR is not going to budge on this. And so if they want to fudge the tire pressures for to get more speed, then that's the risk they take. So I think you're seeing less of that just because they're figuring out NASCAR is not going to give them a harder tire. They're just going to have to air them up more. So I don't think the tires were that big of an issue. I thought that the car showed that it's every bit as safe as the Gen 6 car, to see Chris Buescher flipping around and then, walk out of that car basically unscathed, a little bruised, a little sore from hanging upside down. But other than that, he was unharmed. So that was good to see the car perform safety wise. And I thought it was an entertaining race. I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was potentially the best race that I've seen this year. Although I had to dip out and come back because my poor child was she wasn't going to go to sleep. So I was in and out, but I thought it interesting that, first three drivers, Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, veterans who have been there and understand what it takes to run the 600. And
yeah, it's definitely a marathon, and the veterans always do well there.
Right. So, but you had a lot of new names in there, and is obviously with the green, white checker finish and Denny Hamlin, like I said, getting the first win ever in the 600. It still feels like these young guys are going to give the vets a run every single week, no matter where they are.
For sure. I mean, the power structure right now in the sport is definitely with the young guys. I would say, except for the guys in the Toyotas, Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., though he's been quiet, he's right up there in the points. and Kyle Busch. I mean, those three guys, because the Toyotas have seemed to hit on something, and they're super fast right now. But other than that, the power is really with and I guess Kurt Busch too. He's an older guy in the Toyota, but the power is really with the young guys right now. I mean, that's where the sport's headed, and that's where the talent is, and that's who the best teams have. So you put that together, and of course they're gonna, Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell. Those are going to be the fast guys because they've got the talent and they've got the cars.
Suarez and Chastain finishing 1-2 in that second stage was fun to watch. Just hate they couldn't finish it.
Amazing to me,
Isn't it?
I feel like I feel like Justin, and I've had a chance to talk to him with Justin this year, and even though he had a plan for all this, this has come even more quickly than he could have imagined that it would come. So I'm happy for him. He's a former driver himself, and he really runs his organization so that it's more driver and crew friendly. And I think that that's paid off because those drivers and those crew members would, do anything for him and for that organization. And I think it really shows in the performance because it's not all about the corporate stuff. I mean, he's got Pitbull and a lot of people that can take care of the corporations and take care of the sponsors, and the drivers and the crew chiefs, they just get to drive and they get to, build those cars up. And I think the way that he does that is showing it's a good model.
Heather Williams, WCYB TV out of Bristol, joining us here as she does each and every Wednesday for NASCAR. We are 3 weeks away from Nashville. Is that right, Mo? The 26th? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Like that.
Yeah.
I'm going up there. I just still haven't, I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, it's the 626 is what I'm looking at here, but that could also be, the Ally 400, the 26th, which is
Sunday.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Brothers Osborne pre-race concert on Sunday. You're going to be here in Gladeville. So should be fun.
That is the plan.
Excited to see
Not
what.
Nashville.
No, it's
you may want to stay in Nashville though, because I'm not sure what the lodging situation is in Gladeville. In fact, I'm not sure there's any lodging in Gladeville. So
the way they jack up prices in around race week, I may want to stay like in Murfreesboro
or Lebanon.
Knoxville.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's all right. I mean, when I went to Martinsville, I stayed in Greensboro.
There you go.
It's okay. You're on WCYB will be springing for it. So, hey, it's not your money.
That's true. But I do want to be able to keep going to these races. So I'm trying not to abuse it.
That I do understand. Yeah. Been there, done that.
All right, Heather, tell us, you have nothing to go on. Who's going to win in St. Louis?
I have nothing to go on except for there are some guys in the field that have some experience there in the truck series, and I think that those guys are going to definitely have an upper hand. So I'm going to take a combination of a guy who is really successful in the truck series, a guy who is driving for maybe the hottest manufacturer right now in the garage, and a little bit out of the left field, but he's been running really, really well. I'm going to go with Christopher Bell this weekend.
Christopher Bell, top 10 finishes.
Now, let me ask you this, Heather. How well does truck series success carry over?
Well, it'll only carry over in the fact that when talking to my my good friend that I do my TV show with, who's a crew chief in the truck series, this track is really unique in that the four corners are all different, and the racetrack is almost egg-shaped. And so just being able to know that and know what it takes to get through there. Now, the cars and everything are going to be set up completely different, but just knowing what it takes to drive those different corners is going to be a huge advantage for the guys who have done it already.
Wow. Christopher Bell, 12-1 odds to win this thing. Topping the
I should
list.
start looking those up before I come on here. It might make me sound smarter.
Top of the list is, well, it shouldn't be fair. I mean, Kyle Larson is the odds-on favorite at 8-1. So 8-12. That's
But Kyle Larson's somebody who's never driven at Gateway. He's never taken a single lap there, so that's interesting because he's not ever raced there. He's one of the few.
But if you bet Kyle Larson every week, you're going to have a pretty good chance of doing pretty well, though. Is that fair to say?
Well, you're going to win, but you're not going to make the big money. The big money is never with Kyle.
Yeah, that's the thing is you're kind of, I mean, if you bet every week, then sure, it's kind of like betting on the Braves to win every day. Eventually, it's going to pay off, but not to the extent that you'd like, because he's an 8-1 favorite. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah. So, Heather, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you, and we will talk to you next week.
Always fun, guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will
probably have an umbrella.
We might need one. This is ridiculous. Women's College World Series is coming your way this week, so we'll dive in a little bit to it on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, so stick around. That is freaking crazy.
Isn't it?
It's got to be on that thing. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls. Mo, it is happy Julio Jones is no longer a Titan Day. $9.5 million in cap space will be handed over to the Titans. What will they do with it? Probably something stupid. It is nice to know that that the Titans are trying to level out their cap room, and there's a lot going on with that. So with camp happening and Traylon Burks apparently being out of shape, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the world of the Titans, so we should probably have someone on next week to tell us, because I I don't know. I've been busy.
I don't know. I've been busy, and I have a tough time, with all due respect, getting fired up about
Rookie camp.
any football camp in June.
You got to find something to get excited about. And, I'm certainly not excited. I think that's the problem. More worried.
And it's unfortunate because we were so excited this time last year with the Julio Jones acquisition and everything else, and we see how that went. So I'm just really in I'll catch up come August, or
maybe that's
September.
a positive that we're not excited.
Got to manage your
Opposite.
expectations. I mean,
a little reverse psychology, Mo. Can't wait to see this offense on the field, and it felt like it never got on the field together. So
there is that. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely different. But at least they got that $9 million to work with.
They got a little bit of money anyway.
It'll be interesting to see what they turn that $9 million into.
Looking forward to it. Let's talk a little Women's College World Series as it gets started tomorrow with Oklahoma, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, Florida, Texas, Arizona, and Oregon State in the bracket. First game, as we told you earlier in the rundown, will be at noon tomorrow on ESPN. That's UCLA and Texas. Kind of bleh to me. This is the least excited I've ever been about a Women's College World Series. And I don't really know why, other than it feels like Oklahoma's going to run away with this thing.
You would think that Oklahoma, being the number one national seed, playing in Oklahoma City, it's going to be tough to beat. But I mean, I don't know that that's, for me, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I mean, you look at this field and you've got 3 Pac-12 teams in it, and for years that conference has been so dominant. So it's kind of nice to see, even though they've got 3 teams in it, none of them is really the favorite, and even with 2 of them being, perennial national powers, UCLA and Arizona, it's still, like you said, it really feels like it's Oklahoma's tournament to lose. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think Gasso has done a great job for a long time there. And again, with Jocelyn Allo and the talent that they've been able to put together over a long period of time, it's disappointing to only see, as a, fan of It Just Means More, it's kind of disappointing to only see the one Southeastern Conference team that made it all the way through after they qualified 12 for the 64 team bracket. But
it's especially when it's Florida, because I can't even root for them.
So you're going to root for the Beavers?
Yes, it's my mom's maiden name.
Well, there you go.
That's my great grandfather used to wear an Oregon State hat just because it said Beavers across. It was one of those with the game hats with the it had something on it, and then the title of the school under it. So yeah,
I like that.
He used to wear that hat all the time.
Good for him.
But
a little inventive, huh?
Yeah. So you see the bracket there on the screen. You've got UCLA and Texas, and then Oklahoma, Northwestern. How about Northwestern?
How about that?
That's great to see.
Smart school. Can't hit Vanderbilt.
Yeah, right. This could be you, Vandy.
But we got volleyball. But you keep playing. Yeah.
This could be you, but you play.
Yeah.
But not playing softball. Clearly, it's just kind of a bleh bracket to me. I'm gonna watch it because I'm hoping for, you don't have that James Madison storyline. You don't have, there's not a story to kind of follow through this thing. No. So,
and I've really wanted to talk about James Madison for the last few weeks with everything that took place with that team this season, all the, the misfortune, the tragedy, that kind of thing. And there are some people that we need to get a hold of that we've not been able to get a hold of. But if you followed softball this year and you know of the tragic occurrence with one of the James Madison players and them, canceling the rest of their season as a result and that kind of thing. And it was a very unfortunate follow-up to, them really getting on the national map last year.
Yeah, no question. So it's World Series starts tomorrow. Prior to the championship series, we'll probably have Marion Combs on.
Marion Angus Combs.
It's funny because when I was growing up, there was I think the park director and a city councilman named Marion Combs in my hometown. So Marion Combs is kind of weird because that's how everybody in Alabama said his name, Marion Combs. Ain't no I in there.
It's interesting the way this schedule plays out. Like you said, there's 4 games tomorrow, 2 on Friday, 2 losers bracket games. Winners bracket is on Saturday and continues Sunday. Finishes up Monday, and then the best of 3 finals start on Wednesday, the 8th. Week from
At least they're not playing the championship on Wednesday at noon.
Yeah, all the games are scheduled right now for, let's see, 8:30 start on Wednesday, 7:30 on Thursday, and then the if game on Friday is at 8:30, and all these times are Eastern. So back each of those numbers back an hour.
There you go. All right, let's take a quick break because we got to get to halftime. Johnny Depp, Amber Heard verdict is in, and the card is correct now. So that's a positive. Stick around. We'll take a halftime break after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
Other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
The verdict is in. The card is correct. Johnny Depp wins his libel suit against his former wife, Amber Heard. $17 million. The damages. Do you know what? You know how they messed up the first time, Mo? They just left it blank.
I think Johnny Depp's team would have caught that. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the USFL antitrust case where they gave them $1 because they were like, they're talking about so much money. We can't comprehend any of this. We don't know what is the right amount.
Right.
So they were like, the lawyers will figure it out. Well, luckily for Johnny, they didn't do
Leave
that.
it to the lawyers. The lawyers had already been involved enough. No, tell us.
I cannot believe.
What are we
Seriously,
getting out of this?
the fact that they came in with the verdict, handed it to the judge, and the judge was like, "Hey, y'all forgot something."
How much was it again, Chris?
17 mil.
Wow.
So she has to pay him $17 million. Is that right? Is that the way that works?
Yes.
Well, it's a
17
good thing.
million.
It's a good thing she never actually paid the divorce settlement $7 million, so she can use that now to help pay for that 17, right?
Yeah, I guess technically she only owes 10.
And 7 from the divorce, or maybe it's 17 and 7.
She
Maybe
only
it's 24
pledged
total.
that money. She only pledged it. She actually never donated the money. I think
Well,
that's how that went. I don't know.
That's not good.
All I know is it's over, and my television will not have to be on it anymore.
So what will Sarah watch now?
Probably
Bluey.
Bluey, yes. Probably she'll probably keep watching Love Island or something.
Love Island.
Yeah. JP, if you like Below Deck, you probably like Love Island.
I do like Below Deck. Yeah. That's that is one of ours. Let me switch the music. There we go. Yeah, that's one of the ones we watch.
Having just come back from a cruise and apparently heading on another one here, I'm not sure I want to see Below Deck. I'm not sure I want to know what's.
It's just a yacht. Speaking
it's
of,
just a yacht.
did you
Yeah.
see the Carnival Fantasy caught fire?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it. I was apprised of it at home. The Carnival Fantasy was actually the first boat that I took a cruise on.
Well,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody else getting on it.
Well, it was pretty well contained, though. I don't think there were. You hear about a cruise boat catching fire, and obviously it gets your attention. But relatively speaking, I think it was pretty well contained. They feel like they can get it repaired and go back out eventually.
When people forget that it happened, yeah. Look, they just so happened to be in port when it happened. So thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because if you've not seen the video, there's a video of like they're trying to spray it and it's on the tail fin. And so like they're trying to, and the water's going about almost there, then starts dropping down. The water was doing 0.
Not quite enough pressure there, big boy. Sorry.
It was hilarious. Yeah. Anyway, it's a Wild and Wacky Wednesday, man.
We're getting it started early. Yeah.
And we will take you to break with this. There is a travel trunk for the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
Travel trunk.
They have created a travel trunk to take the Larry O'Brien.
Oh,
NBA
okay.
championship
A
trophy.
trunk that the trophy goes in. Okay. Sort of like what they carry the Stanley Cup in, I would imagine.
This one though, made by Louis Vuitton. So come on.
Well, it is the NBA.
It's the NBA, baby.
Yeah.
We'll be back after this, the second half of Main Street Sports Today after this.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Welcome back. Second half of this Hump Day edition of Main Street Sports Today. Coming up in the second half, we talk our daily Braves segment, for better or for worse. Also, we'll be joined by Mitt Winter, an NIL attorney. That's right, specialist in this field, this new field, if you will. Plus, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday. Speaking of wacky information, and a very unique one coming up. We have video. We have props. We have show and tell for this edition of Wild and Wacky Wednesday. So you want to stay tuned for that. Back to the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao.
Welcome back in. We do have props for today, and oh, what a day it has been already. First half was a solid half, guys. Just throwing that out there. If you missed it, go back and listen to the podcast. Go watch it on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, our website, MainStreetSportsToday.com, any of those things. You can go back and watch the first half or listen to it at your leisure. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. So definitely do that. Time to stop putting it off, procrastinating. The Braves, Mo, just a struggle. I mean, I don't know what the issue is here, other than this seems to be a recurring theme. Over the last, 2 or 3 years, we've seen this same thing happen. Positively, the Braves have been able to come back in the latter half of the year and take advantage of the Mets' misfortune, but I'm not sure the Mets are going to misfortune this year.
I'm not sure the Mets are going to cooperate with that scenario this time around. And last night just kind of hit different, I think, because, there's been so much of a Matt Olson backlash. Well, last night was clearly his best game as a member of the Atlanta Braves. I think he was 4 for 5 with a home run and a couple of doubles. Offensively, they did everything they needed to do. Starting pitching, I think you got 5 1/3 solid innings out of Charlie Morton. And then the bullpen late, Kenley Jansen in particular, manages to not get it done, but take the lead in extra innings. The Braves scored a run in extra innings. I mean, who'd have thunk? And then yet again, the bullpen gives it right back, gives up the win, 8-7 in Arizona to a team that's not great. It just feels like this ball game last night really had a different complexion and left you feeling a little bit different than some of the other losses, because the bullpen has had its ups and downs, but for the most part has been a point of, it's been a strength for this team, it feels like.
Certainly should have been.
Yeah, and Kenley Jansen he hasn't had a clean inning in a couple of weeks, but
coming in had 24 consecutive saves.
But not coming into last night.
No, coming into as a Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, he's blown 3 as a Brave.
So
that's not what you expected when you went and got Kenley Jansen.
And the thing is, last night in particular, okay, you threw coming in behind Charlie Morton. I think you threw
AJ
Minter, you threw McHugh, you threw Will Smith,
who gave up an earned run,
but not the lead.
But still, you're a closer by all
You're
accounts.
Will Smith.
You're Will Smith.
The fact that you're Will Smith overrides the fact that you're a closer.
Well, maybe, but
you got out of Will Smith's inning and you still had the lead. That's a W as far as I'm concerned.
Wow, that's not. Yes, but
I'm just telling you. That's what we have to work with. Snitker's going to continue to put him out there in those situations. We're going to have to survive those situations. And last night we did.
They did.
So, and then we didn't. Well, and it just felt different because this team should not lose a game when it scores 7 runs.
No, absolutely not in any circumstance. Yeah. And Grant McCauley tweeted, Brian Jordan ain't wrong. This happens more than it should, and it's gotten way past old. And when I read that tweet an hour ago, I didn't know if he meant Ronald Acuna getting hit.
That's exactly what he meant.
Or the bullpen blowing a lead. And that's the telling part, is I didn't know which one it was.
No, but he definitely meant Ronald Acuna.
Sure.
And, nobody came out the dugout. Nobody knocked anybody down. Nobody drilled anybody. I'm getting tired of it.
It is ridiculous.
And I'm not saying you got to go up there and throw at somebody's head, but you've got to.
The catcher literally walked out there, told him to hit him, and he did on the next pitch. Why is the catcher not taking one?
The catcher, Marte, you know, who's the first baseman? Christian Walker.
I'm not hitting Marte.
Whoever
I ain't putting Marte on base.
Well, he's getting on base anyway.
Yeah.
If he's going to get on, you might as well hit him. But I mean, you find either the catcher, like you said, Dalton Varsho, or their best player, because Acuna's ours. But you've got to back your best player up. This can't keep happening. Brian Jordan's absolutely right. And at some point, I feel like Acuna is going to take his own hands. And I think the only thing that keeps him from doing so is the thought of a 3-game suspension. But at some point, somebody's got to do something. Clearly, Snitker ain't.
The day that Ronald charges the mound
is the day that all this changes.
Potentially. But it will also be the day that I pretend he's Ric Flair or Stone Cold Steve Austin running out to the ring. I'm going to be cheering like crazy.
Woo. Yes, sir.
Go get him. Go get him. Don't stop. Take your bat with you.
Well, and
flip it when you're done.
And I don't think anybody really wants to see that, because I would imagine by the time he gets there, he's going to have a lot built up.
Nobody wants to see it. I don't want to see it because I don't want
to see him get suspended for having to handle something that his teammates didn't.
Nobody. And it's old. Tired of talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
We got to stop. Figure it out.
There's a lot that needs figuring out down there. I hear the music.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my cue.
My eyeballs are a little blurry. So
June 1st, 2007. This is not an Atlanta Braves history tidbit. Philip Wellman, manager of the Mississippi Braves, becomes the focus of national press coverage and internet discussion when he throws an epic tirade against an umpire. It was actually in Chattanooga that took place. I believe it was at Engle Stadium.
I wish that somebody would put one of those because Ronald Acuna got hit.
You're right. Do yourself a favor if you're not familiar with this incident. Just Google Philip Wellman and sit back and enjoy. Thank me later.
It's worth it.
Yep.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Mitt Winter joins us, talk a little NIL after this break, so stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao alongside the Hall of Famer, Mo Patton. JP Plant, the legend, at least in his own mind. Back in the Berg. That's right. Glad to have you back with us, JP. We really are. Not just that, but glad to be back with you guys, the listeners and viewers, because we were off for nearly a week.
We were off for nearly a week.
With sporadic.
I think you made a couple of appearances.
Yeah, sporadically.
I made 1.5.
You were on the first. You were on that Tuesday show for a minute, though.
I was on the Tuesday show. I don't know if I was actually on camera or not. And then
you were at the end of the show. I can tell you that.
And then I was on Wednesday, maybe.
Yeah.
But that was it, because I didn't get assigned to the show the last couple of days.
Just gonna leave that there. Yeah, so glad to be back with you guys. Seriously, Spring Fling was a blast. It's always a lot of fun. We put a lot of work in. If you want to check out mainstreetmurray.com, mainstreetpreps.com, you can find all of the coverage from spring state championships here in Tennessee. So we appreciate it. Now we're going to go to the phone lines, or I guess the video. I think Mitt is on video today. So Mitt Winter,
apparently,
there he is.
How you doing, guys?
Doing well, Mitt. Mitt is an expert in NIL law, and I don't know, how quickly do you have to study to become an expert in this stuff? Because it seems like you'd have to stay on it all day, every day, Mitt.
Yeah, it definitely takes up a pretty good amount of my day. I always kind of take some time in the morning to look on Twitter and keep track of what's going on, read the news, and check out all the different laws that are being amended or considered by different states. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of stuff to keep track of right now, for sure.
So what does an NIL attorney do in this climate, Mitt?
So a few different things. So I've represented a lot of businesses that are doing deals with athletes. I represent some universities to kind of help them out with their NIL programs. I've represented some of the NIL collectives, which you guys, some of your listeners are probably familiar with. Then I've also represented some athletes as well. So kind of done everything in the new NIL space.
And your goal as an NIL attorney, I guess, is to make sure that people are staying within whatever the guidelines are that have been established, whether it's the collectives, the businesses, the athletes, or the schools. Or to let them know what the guidelines are and then let them make the decision, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously advise them on what the rules are, and the best way to follow those rules or the laws. But yeah, in some cases, you're just advising them and letting them kind of make the final decision on what they want to do. But with the businesses, it's advising on what the rules are and then helping them structure contracts and agreements. Um, yeah, so yeah, NIL. There's basically three levels of NIL. So you have the NCAA rules, then you have state laws, and you have school policies. So it's kind of whatever state a person is in, advising them on what those rules are and what the laws are and how to stay within those rules and laws.
And are you working then across the country? I mean, are you having to keep up with NIL laws in both Maine and Washington State, for instance, or are you kind of narrowing things down a little bit? How are you going about your business in managing all this?
Yeah, it's definitely all over the place. So that's why I try and do my best to keep track of all the different NIL laws. There are about, I think, 29 NIL laws, state laws in effect right now. Then you have the NCAA rules and then the different school policies, obviously. So one person can't keep up on all the different school policies, especially when you have 320 whatever Division I schools. But yeah, I have clients all over the country. So it's a lot of work to keep up on what's going on.
Sounds like.
Yeah, in one of the states that, I guess today passed their law, Louisiana, the state Senate has approved a bill that would allow schools, their affiliates and boosters to compensate student athletes for NIL. When states are taking hurdles out of the situation, that doesn't necessarily mean that schools can still facilitate. It's still against. Is it against NCAA rules for a school to facilitate, or how does that work right now? Do these state laws even matter?
It's not against NCAA rules to facilitate a deal. So a school can help an athlete obtain a deal. So a lot of times, what happens is a business will reach out to a school and say, "Hey, I'd like to work with this athlete," or "I'd like to work with one of your athletes, and will you please put me in contact with that athlete so we can work out a deal?"
Gotcha.
If schools are not able to facilitate deals, either because of their state law or their school policy, the school really can't do anything to let the athlete know that this business wants to do a deal with them. But it's not against NCAA rules for that to happen. Some of the state laws prohibit it, and that's why you're seeing a lot of the states amend their laws to allow the schools to facilitate those deals. Because there's really, in my mind, there's really no reason that a school shouldn't be able to, tell an athlete that a business has reached out to the school and like to do a deal with them. I don't think there's any reason the school shouldn't be able to put the athlete and the business in touch. But the NCAA rules, they do still prevent schools from actually paying the athletes themselves as part of the NIL deals.
So they can't pay them. They can just point them to someone else that can pay them.
Exactly. As long as they're in a state that allows facilitation. There are still some states that have laws that don't allow the schools to facilitate deals.
It's interesting because one of the things that I think was forcing some businesses to do deals with guys who hadn't gotten to campus yet was because of this. They were trying to get out ahead of them getting to school. So they were contacting someone at the high school level or whatever. Hey, we want to do an NIL deal with this guy, but obviously we don't know how to get in touch with him after he gets to school because the schools can't facilitate or whatever based on state law. And I'm curious if that's going to change things or if folks are still going to be reaching out to high school kids and that sort of thing. We specifically thinking about, Nico Wnba and his alleged $8 million deal with the collective. Is that something that athletes at the high school level or just graduating need to be concerned with?
Yeah, I definitely think so. If you're a high school athlete and you haven't committed to a school and you have collectives reaching out to you, offering you deals in return for a commitment to a specific school, you accept that deal, technically you're violating the NCAA rules and potentially state law and also a school policy. And so you're putting your college eligibility at risk if you accept a deal like that. And the NCAA a couple of weeks ago, they said, they haven't really been doing much in the way of enforcing their rules related to booster involvement, collective involvement in the recruiting space. Now they say they're going to start investigating and enforcing their rules related to that. So I think high school athletes definitely need to be aware of what the rules are, and their parents as well, and make sure they're not getting into a situation where they're offered some money. It's hard to turn down money, especially if you're in an economic situation where you might need that money, but you don't want to put your eligibility at risk. So it's important to know what the rules are.
Speaking with Mitt Winter, a name, image, and likeness attorney practicing out of Kansas City here on Main Street Sports Today. Mitt, do you see a point where NIL trickles down to the high school level? I think we've heard some situations where some high school student athletes were or did have the possibility. Now, I know here in Tennessee, it's not allowed by the high school governing body, but do you see a situation where that becomes a common thing?
It'll definitely start to happen more. I don't know how common it will be. There are 9 states right now where a high school athlete can monetize their NIL and still maintain their high school athletics eligibility. And there have been some high school athletes that have signed deals with Nike and Spalding, other big companies like that. So it's definitely already happening, and it'll probably happen some more. But it's going to have to be, high school athletes that are very marketable based on social media followings they have, or if they're just, really amazing at their sport and just very well known. But it's definitely going to happen some more, and I think more athletes will be allowed to do that. More state high school athletic associations are considering changing their rules or in the process of changing their rules. And so I think that's going to continue to spread beyond those 9 states that allow it now.
Specifically here in the Southeast and Southeastern Conference, with Greg Sankey's latest comments on NIL, do you get the idea that, or the thought that maybe this is going to lead to some quicker changing of the guards in the Power 5 level, or could they maybe branch off and get out of the NCAA because of this? What's the future hold for the Power 5 as it regards to the NIL?
Well, I think just with the future of Power 5 football, I think there's a really distinct possibility that Power 5 football just completely moves outside of the NCAA and is governed by the college football playoff or another similar entity. Football as a sport at the Power 5 level, it's so much different than the other college sports, and the amount of money that's being generated is so much greater than the other sports, and it really makes sense for it to almost just move completely out of the NCAA structure and be governed differently. And a lot of the college sports leaders, Gene Smith and others, Jack Swarbrick, the AD at Notre Dame, have talked about this as a possibility, and I think it's gaining steam for sure. And I think NIL is kind of one of the factors that is playing into that and kind of pushing things in that direction. So in the next, I don't know, it's hard to say, maybe 5 years, something like that might happen. And the NCAA right now has a transformation committee that's kind of considering some of these issues. And, it's a possibility that might come out of the transformation committee. Another idea that's been talked about is a whole new division is formed that's still within the NCAA, and maybe Power 5 just kind of has its own division separate from the G5. But we'll definitely see some movement in football to kind of have its own structure outside of the NCAA, I believe.
It's certainly interesting. We obviously have talked about that coming,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I mean, timeline, who knows, but it certainly seems like a lot of the old guard is either frustrated, and it may just be because they knew something and now they don't. So everybody's kind of on the same footing. And so it's certainly putting a lot of people in awkward situations, including the Southeastern Conference and Greg Sankey and everybody else. But obviously that's the ones that we're most concerned with here, Mitt. And so to kind of overview right now, the NCAA, you said, is beginning to set its guidelines and enforce them. Someone mentioned potentially backdating, I guess, and enforcing some of their rules retroactively. I'm not sure if that's still going to happen. But what is next? Is there national legislation coming? Do we need to be focusing on that, or is the biggest impact going to come from the NCAA actually enforcing their guidelines?
Yeah, in terms of national legislation, I don't think we'll see any federal legislation soon at all. Greg Sankey and other conference commissioners have gone and met with some of the leaders in Congress to push for a federal NIL law, but I don't think that's going to happen soon, if ever. So the states will continue to either, amend their laws to make them more permissive or completely repeal their laws. So I think it's going to fall to the NCAA. And the question there is how effective they're going to be within enforcing their rules that they have. The NCAA's problem is it doesn't have subpoena power, so it's hard for the NCAA to get third parties like collectives and boosters that are getting involved in their recruiting to cooperate, even if the NCAA is going to investigate. They don't have to cooperate. They have no obligation to talk to the NCAA. So I think the NCAA is really going to have to rely on the athletes who have information and have been, privy to being offered deals and signing deals, cooperating. And the NCAA can get, in certain instances, get them to talk. They can offer that carrot of, we know about this deal and we think it's a recruiting inducement, so your eligibility is at risk. But if you share the information that you have with us, we're not going to declare you ineligible. We just want to know about what this collective or this booster's been doing. So that might get some athletes to talk. We'll see. Some schools, if they have information as well, they're supposed to share information with the NCAA also. But that doesn't always happen, as you guys know. So
Yeah,
a lot of,
okay.
especially lately, schools have been taking a much more adversarial stance with the NCAA.
Well, thank you, Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
No. Not thank you, Oklahoma State. Thank you, NCAA.
Well, yeah. Still.
But it's the Oklahoma State that brought that about. I mean, it's
Right.
a direct result of how they were dealt with.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Oklahoma State tried to cooperate and they got hammered.
Hammered.
And the schools that say, yeah, we don't really want to share this information with you. We're going to make this as hard as possible for you, NCAA. They're doing fine. They haven't been hit yet. So
I mean, Will Wade got fired, but
how long did that take?
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
After,
So I mean, we're going to make it as hard as possible and as long and drawn out as we can make it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mitt, thank you for taking time with us, man. We really appreciate you shed some light on this, and I know it's changing every day. So,
so get back to work.
They've passed 3 laws since we've been sitting here, man. Sorry.
I know. I'll have to go check Twitter. See what's been happening.
Thank you. Seriously, we appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right. When we come back, the weirdest and wildest news from across the world is Wild and Wacky Wednesday here on Main Street Sports Today.
Literally from across the world.
From across the world. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day returns after this. Ukraine is beating Scotland to make the World Cup.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TWSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao and Mo Patton bringing you the weirdest and wildest news from across the world here momentarily. And this is kind of weird, but also sports related. The Indoor Football League has been around since 2004-ish. 2000. I'm not entirely sure. They are holding their national championship. That is what they're calling it. The IFL National Championship in Vegas this year. They have a title sponsor. Now, first, I want to go into the fact that the Billings Outlaws, a team in
Montana,
in the IFL, based in Billings, Montana. Their owners just got kicked out of the league because they didn't pay any of their bills, the hotel bills, the rent for the arena, none of that. They just didn't.
They pay the players?
They paid the players, but they didn't pay
anything else.
Nothing else.
Well, at least they had priorities.
So the sponsor of the IFL National Championship is Dollar Loan Center, don'tbebroke.com. Now, all I'm saying is, probably should have sent the Billings owners that before now. Could have
how did
saved
they get kicked out of the league? Are they playing, or have they been?
The Outlaws are playing. The team is playing.
The owners are just no longer owners of the team.
So who owns the team?
The league now owns the team. And they will try to sell it at some point, I'm sure. But here's the best part.
Don'tbebroke.com.
Don'tbebroke.com. The commissioner of the IFL is a former multi-level marketing executive. So basically the IFL is becoming a MLM Ponzi scheme. This is insane. Don'tbebroke.com, folks.
Wow.
I'm gonna go see if I can get a loan real quick.
I like that. Why not, right?
This is wild.
I'm gonna tell you what, as website names go,
it's a good one.
Man, that's gold. I mean, kudos to whoever came up with that for them. Don'tbebroke.com. Well, I like it.
Well, if they wouldn't be sponsoring the league if they were don'tgobroke.com, because the best way to become a millionaire is to be a billionaire and buy a sports team. So
there you go.
I'll give you one for that.
Thank you.
I'll give you one.
He stole it. Don't worry.
I did. Oh yeah, that's definitely stolen. But anyway, let's get into it. All right.
I think we already have.
Well, yes, but not to this extent. First of all, JP, I don't know if you know this, but Ukraine has taken a 2-0 lead over Scotland in the UEFA World Cup. They've not played an international game since November.
Wow.
Their coach
has been out.
Enlisted to defend his country when Russia invaded, and they told him, no, go get a World Cup.
There you go.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if that ain't motivation.
Yeah, definitely going to be the world's fan favorite.
Yeah.
In
Anyway,
competitions,
they're up now 2-0, and so yeah, that's pretty crazy. But since we are talking about that side of the world, why don't we go to that side of the world and bring you the wildest 10U hockey sequence that we've ever seen. And please forgive us. All of this is in Russian. We have no idea what they're saying, but if you watch the goalie, that's all you need to do.
And for those of you who are only listening and not watching, apologies.
Yeah, you're going to have to come watch this one, because it is the wildest thing I've ever seen. So JP, hit it, maestro.
Так, подъехал арбитр поговорить с Артемием Акшумовым и объяснить ему все, что нужно. Но Артемий вскипает и просто отоварил судью кулаком. Вот это да ладно, какая жесть вообще. Артемий, вау! Это урал наш детка! И он просто не выдерживает и прямо клюшкой по горбу промеж лопаток. Вы посмотрите на!
That's the best part.
Я такого еще в своей жизни не видел.
One more time, replay guy.
So you want to tell the listeners what happened? Walk them through that?
We will try to explain what just happened. The goalie of
this is a 10U?
10U Little League hockey game
in Russia.
The goalie apparently didn't like the call from one of the officials, and
they were getting beat. What,
10-1?
10? Okay,
10-1. They're getting beat.
So the goalie's already hot. The 10-year-old goalie.
This is a 10-year-old goalie who had previously been suspended by the league for fighting.
No.
Yes.
Oh, he has
really?
Has a reputation, huh?
So he got a bit of a rep.
I can't imagine why.
Well, this time he stepped it up a notch. Initially,
he wouldn't fight players this time.
He's in the crease. The official skates over, says whatever the official says, and the goalie just punches him right in the gut. And so the official turns around, skates away. The goalie chases him and then whacks him upside the head with a stick. 10-year-old.
As best as a 10-year-old can. Doesn't hit him very hard because the official plays
when he's got a
really
lot of
good.
pads on because he's the goalie.
Yeah.
So he can't really
plays really
move.
well.
He can't really rear back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
when the stick's almost bigger than you are as a 10-year-old, it's entertaining. And the announcers reaction makes it choice.
Oh
It's
man,
pretty elite.
I have no idea what he said, but it's still the greatest thing. Yeah. All right. Last thing, I don't know if you guys saw it. Did you see the woman in Piedmont, Alabama, who drove her 18-wheeler into her ex-boyfriend's mobile home? She never hit the brakes and she was shifting gears, baby. And now Papa's not in the graveyard, but Mama's in the pen. Attempted murder, baby.
Well done. Well done.
Oh my gosh, it was the greatest stuff. Hey, Piedmont, Alabama, which is the next town from Jacksonville. Going. No, if you're on 21, you're going north on 21, which is what runs through Jacksonville, and then you run into Piedmont, home of the Bulldogs. Where did your
Yeah, for some reason his mic just went out.
push that thing in? Maybe I don't even know what happened. Anyway, yes, the Piedmont Bulldogs, where the Steve Smith state champs. Good stuff. Great folks. Anyway, that's it for today's show. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Mo's over here broke his microphone. I don't know what the heck happened. It's not. Oh, you got me. Oh, I'll tell you what probably happened is it kind of like when it peaked. You got a little too loud. And so it muted you on its own, and I can't do nothing about it from over here. So I can't help you. Mo said, "See you later, alligator," and we'll see you tomorrow at 2:00. And hopefully we'll have Trebecca's press conference live at 2. So, and maybe Mo's microphone will be on tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. So, we'll see you then. This is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joy. Have a good one. There he is. Found him. Oh, that was great.